Hi, I'm Susie. Today is July 12th, 2025. I have words that I have received from the Lord Jesus Christ, the only one who ever died for you. These words were received day before yesterday, so that was July 10th. It was in the morning after I prayed. I asked the Lord if he had anything on his mind that he wanted to give to me. Sometimes he tells me when he wants me to write, and sometimes I just make myself available. So that's what I did, and here is what he had to say. He says, "Beat down the doubt that rises up inside to keep you from me. Come close to guard and grow your faith. Let me make you strong in your weakness. Harness yourselves to my power. My power is strong and mighty. With me, you can do anything that I desire. I'm calling every part of my body to stand tall as mighty warriors against the unseen darkness that hovers ready to pounce on the unguarded. Stay on guard, my soldiers. Time to advance. My battle plan is set. My loyal, faithful warriors must know all power against wicked is yours through me. Armor up daily. Love the lost with kindness and truth of my word. The unrighteous, not washed daily in my blood, cannot stand in my presence. Heed my words. Your reward will be great. My watchmen know the hour is near. Closer each day, each minute, each second. I come in judgment, in anger toward the nations. I'm sorry, my writing is not that great. I am boundless love for my bride. Oh, wait, read that again. I am boundless love for my bride is ready. Sing praise, rejoice, the fullness of time has come when I claim my own and bring you home. Selah. I am the King of Glory. And now I'm going to go to the scriptures. I have them already here. I hope this all works out good here with the split screen. Let's see. Okay, that's not the right one. Okay. Here we go. Matthew 24:17. And God is focusing with these scriptures on what's going on. I asked him what was on his mind, and this is like what he's telling us, like what he's doing right now or what he's about to do. And he always like gives us some instructions on the way also. And I do put the scriptures in the description box for you, so you can review them or read them later. Matthew 4:17. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Okay, so this is kind of telling us, like in the story of Lot, when Sodom and Gomorrah were being destroyed, and Lot's wife looked back, and she was destroyed because she looked back when God was helping them to escape with the angels. They were told not to look back, and she looked back, and then she was turned into a pillar of salt. She was burnt up, and it also reminds me of when I was in a wildfire in California, and I have a video of this story. I guess I'll post it on this new channel of mine. I have it on my old channel, my Senior Susie channel. but I was in a wildfire, and I made the mistake. I was in this little trailer that we were about to move into, a little 10 by I forget now, but it's in the video how big the trailer was, pretty small. And anyway, there was a wildfire broke out, and I got my baby to safety. And then I made the mistake of running back inside the trailer to get some of my belongings. I wanted to save whatever I could. And that was a big mistake, because that's how I could have died. And if it wasn't for the neighbor boy that saved me, I would have died because I went back. And so this is what it's telling us. When the time comes, in these last days, we're going to go through some crazy times. And you could read the context of this. It was talking about when Jerusalem was destroyed in AD 70, but it also is to be applied to today. And when the time comes that you have to run for whatever reason in these last days, when somebody's after you, when you see that, for those people that are left behind, okay, if you're still here when the Antichrist comes, when you see him sitting on the throne in Jerusalem, it's time to leave. Leave the city, or you go with God, whatever he tells you to do. Also, he will be declaring himself to be as God, and he will be declaring the mark of the beast to go into effect as mandatory. And when that happens, you may need to run. And so I believe that this is a warning to, when it's time to go, you go as God leads you, and don't look back, and don't go back to try to save your worldly possessions, which you don't need to bring with you. When you're at that point in these last days, you need to depend on God for provision. And he even talks about that in some of these other scriptures that I'm about to read. So that was, again, Matthew 24:17. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Just run when you're called to. Okay, the next one is 1 Corinthians 13:7. And this is from the love chapter. And he just gave me verse 7, so that's all I'm going to read for now. But if you're not familiar with the love chapter, and it doesn't hurt anybody to review it, so you can go back and read the whole thing. But he just gave me verse 7 for right now, and it says, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. I didn't mean to do this in the King James. I prefer to read a modern translation, but I pulled these all up in the King James, so I'm not going to go back and change it. So that's what we're with today. So that's the main thing we're supposed to focus on right now, that is on top of his mind, is bear all things, believe things. I know the NIV says to trust and hope and endure, have patience and perseverance in all things. Okay, now we're going to go to Jeremiah 17:1. And this says, the sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron and the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of your altars. So the sin is written in iron with diamond. It's like it's really carved into their hearts. The sin is carved into their hearts. Talking about Judah, Israel, the Hebrews, I know they were different. The Israel and the Jews and the Hebrews were different, but what's in mind today is the nation of Israel. The nation of Israel and the Jews of today. Okay, God is speaking to them. They have a lot of sin on their head. Judgment is falling on Israel right now. He's told me that before. It's in my other videos. So this is what's on his mind, okay, how deep the sin is of Israel. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the main thing is that they rejected Christ. Of course, there are the Messianic Jews who have accepted Christ, and they're highly favored. But most of the Jews still are looking for a false Messiah, and they are going to go with the mark of the beast as soon as he pops up. They already have ideas. Some of them think Trump is the Messiah. There's another guy that I talked about in a different video that came out, and some people are starting to follow him. And I've seen rabbis who are not messianic, not in the sense that they've accepted Jesus. They're looking for Messiah. I've seen them talk on YouTube, and they're talking about the last days and how he's coming, but they're looking for a false Messiah. And they have a lot of sin on them, and we're going to read about some more coming up here. Ezra 1:4-6. God has talked to me a lot, if you've been following me, about the sins of Israel and judgment falling on them, and also on Babylon, but that's not so much today in this message, although you can apply it all to us also. You can apply it all to, when I say us, I'm talking about the United States of America. We are the Babylon of today, and you can apply all this to us also. We're both on his mind a lot, Israel and us, and all the other countries, of course, the whole world. But let's go to Ezra chapter 1:4-6 now. And whosoever remains in any place where he sojourns, let the men of his place help him with silver and with gold and with goods and with beasts inside the freewill offering for the house of God that is in Jerusalem. So right there, he's saying that the temple, the people of God, the free will offerings should go to help the stranger in the land, the one who's visiting, the one who's passing through, the migrants. The church is supposed to be helping them, okay, the temple of God. Then, verse 5, then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and Levites, with all whose spirit God had raised, to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. And all they that were about them strengthened their hands with vessels of silver, with gold, with goods, with beasts, and with precious things, besides all that was willingly offered. So they were giving their precious jewels and whatever they could give to build up the temple in Jerusalem. But in the beginning there, verse 4, it says that they're supposed to be helping people with all that money. Anyway, this is when the temple, talking about the temple being rebuilt, the second temple, really, when it's being rebuilt. And if you are following the news at all, they are getting ready to sacrifice offerings again for sins at the Temple Mount. And they're talking about rebuilding the temple, and they have acquired a lot of the materials that they want to use to rebuild the temple, and they're doing the offerings without rebuilding the temple. They already did a trial run of the sacrifice because they're trying to do it exactly like back in the Moses time. So all that is happening, and is that pleasing to the Lord? No. Jesus was a sacrifice, ultimate sacrifice. He doesn't want to see them sacrificing again. But it had to happen. It's all part of the end time prophecies. And they will be doing sacrifices on a regular basis. And the Antichrist will stop them and say, no more, they're not necessary anymore. Because he is there. And he is the one that will take away their sins and all that. And that is blasphemy against God right there. Anybody who says they can take away your sins. So Revelation 8:1 and 6-7 is next. And when he had opened the seventh seal, there was silence in heaven about the space of half an hour. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and there they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. Now, this is what's on God's mind. This is what's going to happen next. I've done a video about the 6 seals being opened, and we are at the 7th seal, and the 7th seal is the rapture. And then after the 7th seal, the full judgment comes out. I believe the tribulation, the Jacob's trouble is already happening. We're in the beginning, but God's going to rescue us, his people, before the 7th trumpet sounds. So we're right here. We're in this half hour. Now, the 6 seals are open, but they are not in their fullness. They are still, everything that was foretold is going to get, the beginnings are all here. They're evident already in the world, but they're going to get much, much worse, leading up to the next woe, which is going to be the first trumpet. And it sounds like that could be war right there, that there's actually going to be, what's it say, 1/3? Yeah, 1/3 of the earth is going to be burnt up. Sounds like nuclear war to me. And what have we been told by all these people that have been having dreams and visions? Most of them say the rapture was right before the bombs come to America. And they foretold about them being nuclear bombs also. So we're right at the verge of that happening. Okay, and remember, the Bible said, when they say peace, peace, sudden destruction comes. And that's right where we're at. We're right at that time when they're talking about peace deals, and they're not going to happen. Okay, Genesis 1:31. And God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and morning were the 6th day. So 6 seals, 6 days. I believe that God gave us this to remind us that we are at the end of the 6 days, as far as each day being 1,000 years. We're at the end of that period of time. Now, I'm not saying that creation took 7,000 years. I know it could have been 7 literal days, but this particular verse, and that's all he gave me, talking about the 6th day, it could be the creation days can be figurative of the 7,000 years, because the 7th day is the last 1,000 years, which is the millennium of peace and rest, which the Sabbath signifies. Okay, I hope you got that. All right, now Romans 7:5. For when we were in the flesh, the motions of sin which were by the law did work in our members to bring forth fruit unto death. So they're talking about there the lusts of the flesh, and we know what they are, because when we look at the law, the ways of God, the 10 Commandments, love your neighbor and love God. When you look to those laws of the Lord, we recognize sin. And this verse is especially pertaining to sins of the flesh, because it says the sins that work in our members, that's in our body, right? And that it's just reminding you that those sins bring forth bad fruit, which leads to death. And we're not supposed to be living in the flesh anymore. Once you accept Christ, you live in the Spirit of God, no longer in the flesh. It means the Spirit, of course, we're still in our bodies and we have our human needs, but the Spirit of God rules over our bodies now. So what we do with our bodies is in accordance with God's ways and working with Him for good fruit in our life and being evident in our life, not what the kind of fruit that our lusts bring, which is sickness and death, disease. I mean, think about it. What are lusts of the flesh? You got gluttony, you have overindulgence, right? It could be, of course, sexual sins outside of the marriage relationship. It could be addictions that are fleshly, your physical addictions, which can be laziness, can be alcohol or drugs. It can be some bad habit that's not good for you, that is hurting you spiritually. Anything that you're craving with your flesh. It could be too much exercise. People get addicted to exercise. Some people do too much running. And eventually anything that you overdo in your flesh can bring on sickness. And it can bring on disease, right? Look at sexual disease, right? So there's many reasons, and God wants the best for us, and anything that interferes with our relationship with God needs to be either eliminated or cut back so that it no longer interferes with the relationship with God, right? Because I'm not saying you're not allowed to drink anything, but if you have no control over alcohol, if you can't take 1 or 2 drinks and you can't stop, then you better not drink at all, because it's going to eventually hurt you, right? And same thing with drugs. You take just what you absolutely need and you don't overdo it, you don't abuse it, right? And with food, you eat what's healthy, what's good for you, and you don't overdo it. So that's God's ways, and He does want us to enjoy, and He wants us to enjoy life. But we're in the last legs here, and things are so serious that the enjoyment and pleasures of life it's really not the season anymore. We need to be serious about these last days and our part in it, and to be ready for the rapture. And if you miss the rapture, you're going to have to gear up stronger than ever to withstand all the persecution that's going to come upon you. And so here we go. Jeremiah 13:4-9. Take the girdle that thou hast got, which is upon thy loins, and arise. Go to Euphrates, and hide it there in a hole of the rock. So I went and hid it by the Euphrates, as the Lord commanded me. And it came to pass after many days that the Lord said to me, Arise, go to Euphrates, and take the girdle from thence, which I commanded thee to hide there. Okay. So God gave Jeremiah a strange instruction there that made no sense to him, but he did it. So verse 7, Then I went to Euphrates, I digged and took the girdle from the place where I had hid it, and behold, the girdle was marred, it was profitable for nothing. So the girdle was no good anymore. It was messed up from being buried for a while. Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Thus saith the Lord, after this manner will I mar the pride of Judah and the great pride of Jerusalem. Okay, so he's saying that, this all was just an illustration of how I'm going to take down Judah. I'm going to take down the pride of Jerusalem. And again, you can apply it to all of Israel today, and you can apply it to all of us today. Ephesians 6:18, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints. So it's telling us to stay in prayer. Stay in prayer. Our prayers mean a lot these days. We really need to pray without ceasing. And if you have a hard time doing it, just think of Jesus being with you, present with you all the time. You just speak to him silently or out loud if you can. Like he's there, like your imaginary friend, but he's real. You just speak to him throughout the day because he's with you. Whatever you're doing, you could talk to him about it. And whatever's on your mind throughout the day, and you could ask him for advice and direction throughout the day. That's what he wants. He wants to walk with you. Okay, Acts 5:12 and 13. And by the hands of the apostles there were many signs and wonders wrought among the people, and they were all with one accord in Solomon's porch. And the rest durst no man join himself to them, but the people magnified them. So it's hard to get this in the King James here, but I read it in the NIV previously, and what it was saying is that the apostles were doing signs and wonders by the Solomon's porch, and people were not joining them there, and but they were believing them, and they were with them in their beliefs, but they were not physically with them because they were afraid. They were afraid of being arrested. This is after the crucifixion, and so they did not want to be in public and present with the apostles, the new church believers, right? The main ones in the new church that God had ordained that were doing miracles. They did not want to be seen with them because they were scared of being arrested. And I believe that he's telling us that because in these last days, we will be doing miracles and wonders, and a lot of believers will not be supportive of us outwardly, will not be following us in public because we are going to be under persecution. It's going to get that bad. It's not that bad right now for us in America. It probably is in other places where they don't like Christianity, in a lot of countries. Probably going through this right now, where there are people believing them, but they only want to get together in hiding because they're afraid. Only the strongest that have the armor of God and that have a double portion of the Spirit of God, they're going to be out there in public and have no fear. And that's what God wants from us. But many of us are very weak and will only be worshiping in hiding. And, God accepts the worship, and he knows your weaknesses. So you just pray about it. Okay, so that's all the scriptures except one, which I'm just going to talk about because I didn't key it in by mistake. I didn't mean to mess it up. But, wow, we are already on 30 minutes. So maybe I think I will skip it and go back to it next time, because I had to talk about it a lot, because this is a kind of an odd one. But it's Genesis 34 if you want to read this chapter. And I will talk about it next time, because I don't want this to be too long. So God bless you for being here. And I pray for you guys all the time. And God be with you. Take care. Thanks for coming.